dun, dun, dun. Awesome music. Hello. Welcome to Garblag Games. I'm a very sensible, mature, and sophisticated grown-up.
What have you
And,
done with Ben?
and these are my friends. So, hello. Thank you for joining us this evening, both of you, all of you. And welcome to part two of book three, Canley, in the House Dargush triptych saga.
Yeah, well,
Probably only a triptych. The future gets weird beyond this point.
All those tens of thousands of years. I mean, I'm not remembering all that history.
No,
I
who
can
wants to
barely
write
remember
that?
what happened yesterday.
However, you join us as we stand ready to embark upon the next step in House Dargush's history. With me is the current Baron of the house, Lewis, playing Dela Dargush.
Hello,
He does
I'm
things.
Lewis. Yep, I'm Lewis, and I play Dela Dargush. And today, Dela is rocking up casual for the newish emperor, I assume. We'll find out.
Yeah, does Paul stand on ceremony? Let's find out. Repping the family is eager, responsible, dutiful, and well-behaved young Kaelin, played by Dan.
Hi, I'm Dan, and I'm playing Kaylin Dargush, Deputy Marshal, general, naive, wants to do right by her family person, and she has no idea what's about to happen.
Nothing says naive quite like the Bene Gesserit training, though, right?
Right, yeah, well, I mean, she doesn't really talk too deeply about,
Details. No longer naive, having been baptized in the fires of Arrakis and then in deep space. All new War Master. It's Foom.
all
Played by
news
Alden.
all the time. Hello and good evening. I'm Aldun. I will be playing War Master Fum Alhut de Graf, newly ensconced War Master of the House Dargush, replacing his old dad, lovely Morgan. And yes, ready for all kinds of shenanigans.
And last but not least, doing all the thinking on behalf of everybody else so they don't have to.
That's true.
It's T'other Dan, who's on mute, just for funsies. Hasn't plugged something in. There we go.
No thinking machines, that's the problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Hear me now. Right, okay. Thank you very much for having me. I'm Mother Dan, and I am unmuted. And tonight I am playing Tarek Nazmafat, House of Dargush Mentat Spymaster.
Not saying House Dargush you've got a tradition of Mentat Spy Masters, but House Dargush you've got a tradition of Mentat Spy Masters. And why not? Makes sense, doesn't it?
It's quite standard.
I don't know
amongst the
what you
houses.
mean. We have nothing to do with spycraft whatsoever.
No,
we make lenses.
Human
Very nice lenses.
Dig
computer
sand, make lenses. It's all good.
collates information.
Don't know
Yeah,
where the sand comes from though, because we don't have sand on.
You do. You have lovely beaches on the moon of Darga. Pretty much all that's left because everything else is developed.
Sorry. We had so much money coming.
The forests
so much
were
money.
so nice.
But we're not on Darga. We're on Arrakis, Dune, the desert planet,
It's nice to
the
be
source of the spice by which all commerce in the galaxy takes place. And we sit at a fulcrum in history, a turning point. The new Lord of Arrakis, one Muad'Dib, also known as Duke Paul Atreides, the long vanished scion of House Atreides, has risen to claim the planet as his own, summoned the great houses here, and threatened to blow everything up if they don't turn up and do as he says. So previously, on our saga, House Dargush were asked to come along because of their greater knowledge of Arrakis than most of the great houses, having been there before and having a few contacts among Siege and Village. And they did. They landed, flew to Arakeen, the city, built themselves up a nice little defensible location from whence they could act. and were on their way to the Imperial Palace to find out what all the fuss was about.
Made contact with old Fremen contacts as well.
Yep.
And established that we would be going slightly heavy booted, but also still suited in fetching half capes in house colours to attend the summons.
The half cape remains very fashionable.
Baron is trying to bring it back. So
Dayla, bring it back. Dayla has brought it back.
That's what he
If
thinks.
Dayla wears it, it's back.
In House Dargush, yes, but we're trying to extend the influence a little bit further.
Now, to clarify upon an issue from last week where I had winged it on the question of momentum, threat, and determination, I went away and double checked. And as Eldath quite rightly pointed out, I conflated some elements of momentum and determination, which was appalling behavior and should be thoroughly punished. Momentum is something that you get from extra success. It builds up over time. If you get more successes than you need to get something done, you can bank some momentum, or you can spend your momentum to buy extra stuff. Momentum can be stored up to 6 points worth of it, which is nice, and can be used to purchase more dice for your rolls. 1 extra dice costs you 1 momentum. 2 extra dice costs you 2 momentum, meaning buying 2 extra dice costs you 3 momentum. And a 3rd extra dice costs you 3 momentum, meaning buying 3 extra dice costs you 6 whole momentum, depleting any reserve you might have hoped to have built up. Sometimes it's necessary if you really want to roll 5 dice.
Yeah.
You can also use momentum to create a trait or an asset that must be relevant to what it is you're trying to do. So if you get extra successes, you can go, and that bloke thinks I'm cool, thereby creating an asset. Creating traits is a little bit more costly, costs you 2 momentum to change the environment around you to your advantage. You can also use momentum to obtain information on a 1-for-1 basis. So if you're trying to answer a question and you get 4 successes, well done you get the answer to your question, and then you can push for 3 extra bits of intel. Threat is for when you've run out of momentum and you've got no other choice other than to give me points to spend to make your lives miserable. You can use threat to get extra dice, which is nice. I can use threat to ruin your day.
Yeah.
You can also volunteer to take escalation in troublesome situations to reduce your threat, should you wish, or take on additional complications to mitigate it. But they're not fun. Yeah, they are. For the audience, for me.
For repeatedly stabbing von me.
Yeah. And last but not least, determination was the one that really had us last time. Determination is the rarest of resources. It is one based on using your inner drives to really push yourself to just excel at something. So it can only be used if you have a drive. So a drive statement. If you wish to do something that lines up with your drive statement, great. You can use that, roll determination. Excellent job. If you have an action that would be hindered by your drive statement, you can use determination to challenge the drive statement, which still works, but you have to change the statement after you've done it. So case in point, let's take a look at faith. Dayla Dargush, inspiring faith drives excellence. Perhaps he arrives in a situation where he has to undermine someone's faith. Oh dear, that challenges his drive statement. All right, so be it. He needs those numbers, so he's going to challenge his faith, spend his point of determination, and use it to get an automatic critical success before rolling. Nice choice. Gets an automatic critical success, rolls anyway, gets any more successes necessary, but has challenged inspiring faith drives excellence, so needs to change that faith statement for something else that is relevant to the situation in which it's used. Kaylin, what we got? We got justice statement. I seek to uphold the laws of my house. Well, what if the laws of your house contradict the laws of the emperor? Maybe you decide to go imperial on that, go against the house, follow the rules of the empire. I know you're not gonna.
We're watching you, Caleb.
There might be a better example of when you go along and align with that. So you decide, you know what, I am totally going to abide by my house's decision and not anybody else's. You're not challenging your statement. You're going along with it. You can still use your determination. You fluffed your dice roll. You're going to use that determination to re-roll the whole thing. So different uses for different features. Fun stuff you can do with your various points. They also sit there as a kind of tide of who's doing best at the minute. So if threat is higher than momentum, the bad guys have got you a little bit in the corner. If momentum is higher than threat, you've boxed the bad guys in a little bit. That is short version, momentum, threat, and determination. There is a note stuck on the Roll20 thread that you are welcome to refer to should you get stuck at any point. Otherwise, let us pick up where we left off. Our journey to the Imperial Palace. We were going fairly mob-handed, so the likelihood of us being stopped is remote.
I think our plan, especially the way we're dressed, is to come in marginally before House Richie's to sort of appear as a bodyguard of sorts.
Yeah,
which
that
also
tracks.
Explains our dress and our attire, and also Dargush has been making some waves lately, so we want to blend in a little bit more into the background.
Which is interesting because rocking up in still suits after a Fremen revolution.
We're ready for a fight.
We
We
are
just don't know what side we're picking yet.
We're ready to lay down the hammer for the Emperor.
That is
Whoever
a
that might
question.
be at the time.
Has Foom inherited the staff?
I haven't decided yet.
What, the real one?
Yeah, the real one. Yeah, not the aluminium one that Grandpa Morgan's got. They might
Parakeet
merge.
streets thereof are full of house troops from one house or another. Nobody's firing on anybody. There are Sardaukar in the streets. There are Fremen in the streets. Everybody's got a look on their face that they want to shoot someone. No one's doing it, but the whole place has got an air of tension about it that is palpable. I'd say you could cut it with a knife, but that would probably start something. So don't.
I have a knife.
I know.
We all have knives.
Whose water shall I take, Baron?
No one just yet. We're gonna see what's going on before we start.
Smell that, troops. It's the smell of incipient violence. I love the smell of violence in the morning.
The palace, which until recently had been the stronghold of House Harkonnen, for a while they had been ruling Arrakis with an iron fist, an incompetent iron fist, but an iron fist nonetheless. Their banners shredded, thrown to the floor. Fremen banners and Atreides banners up in their place. Imperial banners outside near the landing fields, held by Sardaukar troopers at the outskirts of the palace. Noble houses gathered around in cliques and groups, the Landsraad in person as much as possible, waiting to find out what is going to happen within. You are among the last to approach as the defenders of House Richis. And as the Richis banners approach, the gates to the palace open up. And a middle-aged Fremen man steps forth onto the stairs. Nobles of the Landsraad, Paul Muad'Dib Atreides invites you to attend on him. Enter. And he steps aside. And the Emperor kind of pulls himself up to his full height with his fancy robes and his big winged headdress, marches imperiously up the stairs. Here's his daughter in tow, Princess Irulan, a number of Bene Gesserit advisors, and the dukes, counts, barons, and duchesses of the noble houses swarming up the stairs behind him with their various retinues. Inside the palace, it is wall-to-wall, impassive, faceless Fremen warriors. Still suit masks up, blue in blue eyes, glaring at everyone that passes, a hand on worm-toothed Chris knives as they go.
Yeah. As we go in, like, is there a divide on which sides people go stand on? That is.
At the minute, we're
visible?
still making our way through the corridors, but as we come out into the throne room, which has been cleared and divested of all furniture, you've been in here before. We've had banquets in here. Well, Dela has.
The rest of us haven't.
No.
Bride or
You
groom?
were all too young to remember. I mean, that was in the heady days of.
All that's left is a dais. Sat upon the dais is a single throne. Sat upon the throne, clad in loose cotton trousers and an overrobe, is a young man with blue in blue eyes and the dark tan of a Fremen, but the bearing of an Atreides. I think you might have seen his dad a few times, Taylor, so you got a rough idea of what he might look like.
Yeah.
He's wearing the Atreides signet ring. Behind him stands an older, more heavily tattooed, but no less attractive Lady Jessica, the former consort of Duke Leto Atreides. Sat at his side is a Fremen woman, dressed in the robes of a consort to a noble house, but carrying a crysknife at her side and the bearing of a warrior. And at this point, the political juggling starts to happen as to who stands where. Nobody's saying anything. The Emperor's gathered about himself a clique of nobility, including none other than Phaedraltha Harkonnen, the heir to the house, and a few of their hangers-on and sycophants. Many people are kind of just milling around and not really knowing where to go because they're used to being given chairs and no one's given them a chair.
Dalo will make some slight head movements towards the rest of our mini Landsrad and will sort of shift the Rachis to a position of our own. Preferably one near an exit.
Yeah.
I wonder if now is a good time to use my ability passive scrutiny.
Might be a plan.
I think it does sound good.
So I when we enter a scene, I may ask one question of the game master is if I'd spent momentum to obtain information. So with everyone sort of separating out and whatnot, Kaylin's obviously not used to the political world, but she is used to the criminal world and cliques forming. So what I'm going to ask now is, does it look like any group is making a move or setting up to make a move against any one party? More importantly, she's looking to make sure that no one's making a move against our Baron or the Rachis family.
Yes. It does indeed look like somebody's going to make a move against somebody because everybody is now, right now. This is a key opportunity
Chaos
for
of-
so
yeah.
many people. one wrong word in the wrong space at the wrong time, and it could all fall down. And everybody knows it, and nobody wants to be the first one to move, but a lot of people are stood ready to act as soon as one thing happens. It's political Jenga of the first water.
Kaylin will relay that information as best she can to the Baron. Obviously, she's not political, but she's now going to be probably a bit more on high alert that this is more like a kill box than a political engagement at this point in time in her eyes.
In which case, I will get you to do a check.
Oh, yeah.
And I am thinking this is probably a
discipline.
I would accept it as discipline for your observation. Yeah.
Yep.
And drive-wise, duty, I think.
Yes, I would say duty because it's my duty to my house.
Yeah.
Okay. Duty.
So you're looking at a difficulty of 3, which means you need to score three successes to pass.
Okay.
The discipline?
Discipline? I mean, my discipline is fairly decent.
Oh, you're doing advisor. Oh, well, I can help. I can assist.
Can you?
Yes. I can assist with my advisor brackets discipline. Whenever I assist an ally, use that skill, the ally you assist may re-roll a single d20 in the dice pool.
Cool. Okay. And determination allows me to.
If you want to spend your 1 point of determination, it would give you the opportunity to either preload an automatic 1, which is an automatic critical success worth 2.
2, yep.
Or doing it afterwards to re-roll any of the dice that you use.
Okay.
Or you can make a declaration to change something in the scene in your favor.
I am gonna, because I'm doing duty, and I will do what needs to be done to see my house prosper. Is my statement.
That
so
very much aligns.
Yeah, so I'm going to use my determination to get the critical if I need 3.
Yeah.
So I shall roll my dice now, and then we shall see what happens. However, I do need to roll a d20, for I am driven. And when I spend a determination, I roll a 1d20, and if I roll equal to or under my discipline rating, I get my determination back. I do get my determination back.
Wow. That's a good start.
She's naive. She's up for this. All right. Okay. So I rolled, and so do I choose which one is the critical, or do I've got a success?
Well, you've got a critical, and you've got the auto crit. So you could turn that 20 into the auto crit, and then you have 4 successes.
I will do that.
Out of the 3 that you needed, and you didn't lose your determination.
And I will
and it gets away with the complication that you would have picked up from that 20.
So you could always re-roll one of those d20.
I could.
Doesn't have to. But
I'm not going to with 4 successes. So I will chuck the extra success in our momentum pool because I see it's at 4 at the moment.
Okay, in which case you would also catch a glimpse from the corner of your eye of a hunter seeker being released from somewhere in amongst the Imperial crowd and making its way out and round the back, not towards the Atreides, but coming back around towards the little gaggle of houses over your side of things.
This immediately gets brought to the attention of Foom, who is our war master and leader of our soldiers, and to the Baron immediately. And I kind of point it out. Baron, a hunter has been released from the Imperials, and they're heading our way.
They look like?
Dayla is going
to... It's a little tiny syringe that can fly.
Yeah. Put his hand on Kaylin's shoulder and say, or whisper where everyone can hear. Yeah, that's not surprising. Make no mistake. At this moment, we are dead, and it remains to be seen whether we come back to life. And I'll nod to Foom, who is probably the hopefully the most capable of intercepting the hunter seeker.
Already moving to intercept and signalling to the rest of the guard to thicken the perimeter.
Yeah,
And
my
be on
my
alert.
specialist marshal team will be outside of the thing area at the moment.
Given that you got 4 successes, do you want an extra point of momentum in the pool, or do you want to obtain more information?
Oh, I want more information if possible. Always more information.
A wise decision. Yeah.
Yeah, because also we're a house of espionage.
That's absolutely come out of the Harkonnen delegation, which includes all of your enemy houses.
Least favourite people.
Bunch of murderers and jugglers.
I know, right?
And another thing that Kaylin is keeping an eye out for, because she has this as an asset, is the Ben Gesserit codes, the dots. She's just keeping an eye out if there's been any sort of like little ones laying around, like so if they put them on the wall or something like that. So
one of the reasons this place has been stripped of all furniture and everything is just in case any of them had left anything like that. And Lady Jessica's very thorough when it comes to checking for those.
Thought she might be. I mean, obviously Kaylin's not full Ben Gesserit, so she's not like as skilled as any of like the high people might be, but she's just keeping an eye out for it anyway, just in case there's the odd assassinate Dela Dargush.
Oh, you've got Reverend Mother Gaius Helen Mohayam and a couple of her gaggle of acolytes over with the Emperor. You've got Lady Jessica Atreides up there, and she's a Reverend Mother Wise Woman of the Fremen now. So,
wow, this is going to be a party. That's for certain.
Yeah.
Benny G.
Like I said,
party.
we're already dead. We'll see what happens.
I love your pep talks, Baron.
Kaylin's definitely more on edge after that pep talk.
Yeah.
Look,
Alden, how do you want to go about stopping this hunter seeker? Because otherwise, I'm gonna stab someone with it.
Syringe. He's gonna try and stab it. I will narrate and tell me if this is at all possible. Foom is going to almost reflexively slip back into his sand walking. So his shuffle step, he also has developed this into a subtle step, which makes him a kind of less perceivable, able to move better and be less perceived, but it still retains some of that kind of Fremen style of the broken steps and the sliding feet, so as not to attract the unwanted attentions of Shokalud. And he's effectively just going to attempt to get close enough to the hunter so that he can stab it with his crysknife.
Okay, if you want to use subtle step, you've got to be making a move roll.
That's fine. I'd like you. Yes, move.
Also, I'm going to use your action in a minute for something else.
Baron's just going to move me elsewhere.
No.
I'd like it to be power, because my power statement is focused on where you need to be, not where you are.
That tracks.
So as long as we're happy with that, and my focusing move is precision, so this all seems to be stacking up nicely.
Again, it's a difficulty 3 thing because these things are quite tiny.
Okie dokie. And I'm going to be stabbing it with
you want.
Well, I'm going to be stabbing it with my crysknife, and I just want to check. I have crysknife master, as demonstrated perfectly by Aaron in previous Dune episodes. So if I succeed, I automatically generate a free point of momentum. So I feel like I should spend at least one. And then just see how we roll, really.
You are all able to edit the momentum and threat clocks as well, but I've done that one. Rather than complicate things for you.
Don't know how that works. And then, so for how many dice do I say? 3?
Yep, 3 dice, and because you spent a point of momentum.
And we will see what happens. Using focus, yes. That's 2 successes.
4.
Yeah, 4 successes.
4 successes. The blue is critical.
Blue critical success.
Blue is critical. Okay, 4 successes.
Yeah, 4 successes. Okay, wow. House Dargush. coming in clutch here.
Slide, shuffle, slide, shuffle. Excuse me. On your left.
And you
Stab.
wanted to hit it with a crisp knife.
Yep.
Good job it was a crisp knife that you hit it with, because as you smash it out of the air with your crisp knife, breaking it in half, about 6 other crisp knives appear at various soft points on your flesh. There are a number of fairly agitated Fedaikin.
Yeah.
But when they see what you've hit, they'll put their knives away. One of them will reach down to pick up the back end of the hunter seeker and pop his plug and give it a sniff. Poison.
Yes, from the
You have a
Harkonnens.
good eye.
A gift.
At this point, Paul begins to speak.
Yeah, leaning on that as well. The moment Foom goes into the shuffle step, Dayla will try and organize our group so that anyone at the Imperial dais that was looking that way could see Foom move.
Just form a channel.
Just
He's definitely been seen.
Tracking him.
Just form a little bit of,
Paul's got a bit of a
Not
thing about people who use
necessarily.
hunter seekers as well.
Yeah.
Not a huge
precisely.
fan for some reason.
No, oddly enough. I don't understand the momentum wheel. Can someone put another momentum back on there?
Yes, so you left click on it and you choose multi-sided, choose side, and then you can slide it up or down to give the appropriate number.
Wow, that's really funky. I did not find that. Thank you.
Okay, I need to spend some of my threat as well, because
You don't have to.
6.
It's all right.
I'm not spending all 6, but they did try and sneak out a hunter seeker, which is a threat action. And we're thwarted.
I don't want to know what you get with 6 threat. Yes, Foom will return back to the center, but will ensure that there is a layer of guards.
Yeah, there are
our
a
group.
number of Fedaikin who are also paying much closer attention to the Imperial Party and the Harkonnen Party in particular. Not that they weren't already, but now they very are.
I will salute the Fedaikin that nearly took my water before they fade back into the background.
And Paul is speaking and addressing the crowd, much the same speech as he gave to those in orbit. That the spice is the source of all commerce in the galaxy, and that he has placed water reserves above the main spice deposits of Arrakis, and that on his word the spice will not flow, that a chain reaction will begin that will kill the makers, the little makers, and all spice production for all time. It's bold.
Hope he doesn't go through with that.
And he presents an ultimatum to the Emperor. To stand down, effectively. Give him the Empire. And then a voice from inside the Harkonnen Party, a small Harkonnen Party, calls out one word. Canley. And everything kind of goes quiet. And everybody looks, and there's Fade. Thin, athletic, rangy Fade by the Emperor's side. I declare Canley. I will fight him. Paul exchanges a glance with his concubine, looks back into the crowd. And is this what the Emperor wishes? Shaddam says, if Fade wishes it, he will meet you with my blade in his hand. And offers Fade his own dagger, which is a Ginaz dagger, very, very well made. Fade stripping off his outer layer and stepping forth, noble houses pulling back, giving him space. Paul stepping down from the dais, dropping his robe, drawing a crysknife. And he salutes his enemy. May your blade chip and shatter. And they get to fighting. What would you like to do?
If I may, Foom will already have been signaling to Caleb to keep scanning. We're not going to watch the fight at all, because if everyone's attention is over there, that means there is an opportunity, either against us or against others.
Yeah, Kaylin is also following Foom's instructions and scanning, but she now does have one hand on the hilt of her longsword that she wears at her hip.
Dan M, what about you? What's Tariq going to be up to? Captain Calculations.
Calculating what the fuck is going to happen. Because if ever there was a sort of standing on the precipice or the knife edge of how the galaxy's gonna, go. So I'm kind of looking at the bigger picture now and how it's going to involve us. So I'm currently calculating how we can get on the side of the Fremen and how we can get on the side of the Emperor as well. If it goes either way.
I mean, Taylor would gladly like to know what the outcome of the fight might be as well, because then we can pick a side
Put some
quite
money
quickly.
Don't put money on it. Don't. Okay, Dan. I think that sounds like you want to do an understand and probably truth roll.
Understand and truth. So my truth is 7 and my understand is 8.
Do you have a focus that would help?
Yes, data analysis.
Data analysis and the truth will out.
Cool. Excellent.
So data analysis definitely helps. You
It's
can
2
use
20, isn't it?
Yeah. It's 10 and a 9. So that would be 2 successes. Probably too close to call, to be fair. At this stage, in terms of fighting skills, Fade is a master of hundreds of gladiatorial combat bouts. He's a genius in a fight, but he's up against a desert-trained Fremen with Bene Gesserit skills, who was trained by Gurney Halleck. But that wasn't the main focus of your investigation. That's me getting sidetracked into the fight. Your actual question was, what's going on? Politically speaking, the Spacing Guild are wavering. They've moved away from the Emperor and towards the Atreides dais. Not so far as to not be able to make it back, but the threat to the spice has clearly motivated them. That's put the wind among the great houses, and a lot of the great houses are discombobulated and looking to one another to see who's going to do what. If your allies are going to go one way, do you go with them? If your enemies are going to go one way, do you go against them? Same as the thing that Kalen spotted earlier, everybody's waiting for someone else to be the first one to act.
Follow-up question, if I'm allowed. Where's
You could
the
spend a
money?
point of momentum to get a follow-up question.
May I spend a point of momentum? Momentum.
Yes. Okay.
Where's Chome?
Chome will always go with the guild on this because Chome doesn't exist without the guild.
So they've gone that way as well.
Chome, if you like, is stood sort of between the Emperor and the guild, but being pulled on a string towards the guild's
They need the guild
argument.
to be able to. Yeah.
they're both looking from a perspective of if Fade wins, it's not too late to go back. If Paul wins, we've started to show good faith early on.
I'm gonna do what they do in like an episode of The West Wing or something like that, where you write it down on a little bit of paper and give the president a note. So I'll be writing it down on a little piece of paper and give the Duke a note.
Unfortunately, I'm only a baron, but
Baron a note, sorry. Well, we'll see what we can do about that.
For now.
Yeah. If only we had a saying that had something to do with that. Dayla is gonna kneel down or squat down with his hand kind of maybe close to his Guinness blade, but not entirely. And he's gonna lean his head to one side and watch the fight. And he's also assessing who's going to win based on the information he's got from Tariq.
Okay.
But this is also a sign to everyone else that we're ready to go when something happens.
Always ready, Baron.
Because I may be old, but I can spring forward with relative not as fast as I used to be, but still.
Don't wish to alarm my fellow players, but I just saw the fret thing go down by 2.
Countess Albana, seeing you crouch down, steps closer, and to your absolute surprise, stabs you in the back.
Feels fair.
Just subtle blade. She's still right there, still hold one hand on your shoulder. Slow blade right in the kidney.
Wow.
Do I have any reaction to that?
Do you have any reaction to that?
Do any of us see that?
Kind of stoic bleeding.
Stoic bleeding.
Stoic. Nothing says bleeding like doing it stoically.
Let's see. Do you have to have things that are specifically reactions, or can I?
Forget to put your kidney armor on again. God.
So, in terms of conflict style, this obviously falls under, well, espionage combat rather than anything else.
Yeah.
So, for a combat reminder, choose an asset to use, make the attack. It's a contest against the target, so you can attempt to roll against it as you feel the slow blade moving closer. You are trained, after all.
Can I use the slow blade?
The talent?
Yeah. So ignoring basically the fact that I have been stabbed in the kidney.
Yes. Obviously, that will catch up with you in a minute.
Yeah, probably. I am not going to try and stab her back.
Okay.
I'm going to disarm her.
Alrighty then. So the stab is happened. It's a thing.
Yeah.
You're going to accept that because you weren't expecting it. And then your reaction is to disarm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Disarm. And then I'm going to embrace her. So battle.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of a drive. Can I go with duty? I must guarantee my house thrives.
Yeah, okay.
Just for reference, has the Baron had kids yet?
Yes, 2.
Yeah. We have
Oh,
2.
good. We're fine.
With her.
Yeah, it's
One,
fine.
one is a Rachis, technically,
fine.
for
We're
now.
fine. All right.
And the other.
So this is marital conflict, really.
Yeah.
We should stay out of this. We should just let them sort it
I'm
out.
gonna spend a momentum to take it up to. Wait. How many dice do you have as standard? Because it says 2 here.
2.
Yeah. So I could buy a third dice. And I also have my Guinness knife, Guinness and Kiwa knives. Using focus.
Okay, this is difficulty 4, which is outrageous because she's not that strong.
But I wasn't expecting to be stabbed either, so To be honest, I was expecting to be stabbed,
but not by her.
Not by her, and also, what do you have people for if it's not to stop you from being stabbed? There you go.
I wonder why he has us around.
Very nice. So that is
I may be old, but I've still got it.
That is the full 4 successes that you needed to disarm her and grab her. But the complication that you also rolled means that she can utilize her second attack, which is a bite. And she is going to bite you in the throat.
Ow.
It was like an indelicate question, but what did he do?
I have to ask, at this point, are any of us seeing this?
Yes, absolutely. At this point, I mean,
by this point, yeah.
At the point where he hisses and stands up to turn around to bear hug her, you will see the knife sticking out of his kidney.
Yeah.
And then watch as her eyes go wide and she draws back her lips to bite him with fangs that she didn't have a minute ago.
Is there any way that we can intervene on this matter?
Yes.
Sure.
You absolutely can.
Kaylin was Kaylin.
Dog pile. Come on, Secret Service, do your job.
I mean, Kaylin right now, it will be feeling.
I mean, you fucked
Before
up.
they do that, can I roll some kind of understand roll?
Yes.
I believe it's
Yes,
some
you
sort of
can.
Von Mere meat puppet.
My main question, is like, this probably isn't my wife.
And frankly, you should have noticed earlier.
That seems like
I
a
was
fair
busy.
choice.
You're a bad husband.
So understand
And truth?
Truth is not great, but sure, we'll go with it.
If you could
wanted to
justify
go-
something else, I mean, faith,
I wanted to go with
arguably.
faith because, the marriage bond.
Okay, yeah, no, I'll take faith then. You justify it, okay, I'm happy with it. It's really your choice what you're rolling, as long as you're not trying to do something outrageously flangy.
I'm going to leave the momentum because people might need it to save me from horrifically dying. But, isn't my focus in house politics, does that apply?
Not really. Kind of, yes, but only because it's such a
Yeah,
broad
it
topic.
feels like, is it a direct attack on me through an attempt of... But I'll go with no. Go on then. 1 success.
Okay, 1 success, but it is a critical, so that's 2 successes. Obviously, this isn't your wife.
Yeah.
So at some point, she has been subbed out for what is more than likely a Gola, which drastically shortens the list of suspects
Yeah.
to 2.
I will grab the Gola by the head with my fist still clasping on the knives and just look at it and go, I will find her. And I assume hopefully people will save me at this point.
Yes, please add the trait poisoned to your character.
Yay.
I figured that was going to happen.
I mean, unlike Daylight, Kaelin's not standing on ceremony and is quick. The long blade is out and is already on its way down as he's tried to wrestle her.
Okay,
And
try not to stab him at the same time.
I mean, yes, that's so. I'm going to be using my focus long blades. So I'm going to be using battle. I'm going to use duty once again because I'm trying to protect the Baron, and that was kind of my job, and I'm failing miserably at it. But so she's going straight, and she's going mostly for a killing blow. She's not messing around. This person's trying to, whatever this is. She assumes at this point the Richi's countess. He hasn't seen the Fang. She just assumes that she's being employed or has been intimidated or manipulated or blackmailed into killing Baron. So she's going to die, or at least she's going to attempt to kill her. I will also spend my determination again because I want to save the Baron. So let's go.
On the plus side, all of the threat is going down at this point.
Yeah, that's fine. Fumi's just going to kill the rest of Richi's party because they're clearly.
And I have a
traitors.
backup character, which is 9-year-old girl. But...
Don't know how you play that one, but sure.
Uncomfortably for everyone.
Yeah, I was going to say.
In the same shirt as well.
And because I have, is it because I have an asset? My long blade is an asset. Do I get to put a momentum back in for? Just trying to understand how my assets work. I don't have a fancy blade. I just have a well.
How do you mean? You've got a blade. It's an asset. That means you can stab her.
Yeah.
Yes.
It just gives you the ability to do the thing.
Lovely, fantastic. That's what I was trying to work out. Lovely. So we are going duty. We are going 2 dice.
If you spend a lot on assets, they can give bonuses, but
If a asset has 2, what does that?
If an asset has 2, then it gives you a bonus to doing the thing. Oof.
Thanks for not saving me.
Yeah,
Would
but
you
one of those is critical. So
I can bolster you if you want, so you can re-roll that.
Can you? Are you not tied up at the minute?
yeah, you're probably tied up in a minute. No, I mean one of those is a critical because I
could
use my
shout,
determination.
"Fucking killer." That's bolstering enough.
One of those is a critical. So I've got 2 successes at least.
So yeah,
carry on.
and you were going for a stab, a killing blow into the
Yes.
body. So yeah, just straight in through the ribs. Her guards are leaping into action, but you've got Pranabindu conditioning, so you're moving quicker than them. Her old mentor, utterly aghast and horrified, and also a Bene Gesserit, is probably going to turn and use the voice on you any second.
I figured, and also because I'm Ben Gesserit trained, I figured that's going to happen. So I'm trying to move quicker than that happening, so I at least get to kill her before I get voiced. At least that's my hope. I will roll my d20 to see if I get my determination back.
Yeah.
I do indeed get my determination back.
Very determined.
You're
I am driven.
unstoppable.
Kaelin will not go. Kaelin will not let
So
our house
assets
fall.
have a quality rating. Most things are quality 0. Quality 1 is above average quality and effectiveness. So a decent blade. 2 is highly effective or very potent.
Mine's quality 1.
So it would be better than a standard blade, which tracks because you're nobility.
Yes. The Baron gave it to me on my ascension to Deputy
The
Marshal.
downside to them is that they're obviously more personalized as well and can be more easily tracked back to you.
I mean, I think it's obvious where the sword has come from.
Stabby, stab.
Chop.
It's the Dargush swords are
Slice.
kind of shaped a bit like a D in the tang, so it just
How sigil on that.
So even with your blade in her back, the Countess doesn't appear to be stopping. She's raging and thrashing, and
Yeah, but hopefully she's coming away from like or sort of.
but he's holding her as well, which is causing problems for the getting
yeah.
away.
The
They're
head.
holding her
Just-
by the head. Yeah.
Just let
In a minute,
go,
I'm gonna
Baron.
stick both knives in the skull. So
Your guards are acting. Her guards are acting. The Fedaykin are moving to break it up.
if no one else wants to go, I'll just ram.
Well,
Okay,
we kind of need to jump back
Yeah.
and forth between who's doing what. So that's Dan's done that. So yeah, you're getting voiced, my friend. And it's just a stop. Absolute base level, easiest voice thing you can do to someone. But it's coming from a Reverend Mother, so it's kind of smart.
I assume there's no way for me to resist this.
There is a way for you to resist this, yes. It's a contested role because this is a conflict. So it would be you versus her with doing it. Using the voice is finding voice. 1, 2, may add threat. Oh God, stop moving so slowly. It's doing it to attack me now. It's doing it to be willfully malicious. The PDF is messing with me.
Yeah, you're not allowed to voice me. It's just decided.
Yeah.
Right, well, there's only 1 point of threat left because I've got to spend it rather than adding to it. Normally it's for adding to, with the Bene Gesserit being you lot. So you get to make a communicate check with a drive that you feel is appropriate
Probably
against
duty
a
still.
difficulty of 3.
Actually, no. I'm gonna push for justice because at this point, this person attacked the Baron, and as far as I'm concerned, that's breaching the laws of our house.
Yeah.
No attacky Baron.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the first
I
first
think-
law. The first law of our house: don't attack the Baron.
First
I
rule
think the
of
second law
Dargush
is
Club,
if people stab you, you're allowed to stab them back.
Yeah.
unless it's the Baron.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Okay. Communicate though is not a good stat for me, but we'll try anyway. Can I spend a point of momentum, everybody, so that I at least have a chance of
Yeah, why not?
3 dice?
What the heck?
And can I be focused? Can I? No, I don't have anything in focused in communicate. No, of course I don't, because it's a crap stat. Okay, cool.
Rolled bones.
Hey!
Hey, look at that.
3 successes, all that you needed. You could feel the voice clamp down on you, but you've been exposed to this.
Mm.
You're Bene Gesserit. They've done this to you before. You know the feel, and you're better now. You're stronger. This is for the house, so you don't have to stop. Bounce it back to one of you. Dan M, you've not had a chance to do anything yet.
Yes, I'm wondering who I can shoot to cause the most chaos. To give us something to hide behind.
The Emperor.
Hold on while I just rewrite the
Faired.
future.
Just-
So I've got this little poison dart gun. I'm wondering if I could shoot the Fremen with it.
Oh, Jesus.
That'd be
And
a
then-
really bad
but-
life
no,
choice.
but- Make it look like she did it. Is there a way of pulling that off?
Not easily.
No, okay.
Don't be
Yeah, it would be
easily.
funny.
Never tell me the odds. Oh, no, wait. You're a mentat. You're all the odds.
So
I'm-
you
no,
could
no,
use
all right.
you could use your smarts and deductive reasoning and explain what's happening so that you don't get stacked by
I'm gonna
every
frame her.
armed
I
person
mean,
in the room.
I'm gonna put the dart gun on her. In the scuffle, is that possible?
Yeah, that'd be a lot easier.
Because he's already poisoned, isn't he?
That'd be
the knife sticking out of me is also probably
Yeah.
Nah, you'll be
a big
fine.
bit of evidence.
The fangs as well.
Just
yeah.
make a
In
little-
fairness, it's a
yeah.
move check to do it.
I'm not very good at that.
which you're not great at, but what drive you wanted to use would be up
In
to
which
you.
case, I'm going to explain to the Fremen that it's all her fault. Would that be a communicate
Yeah,
and a truth,
yeah.
or
Truth is the best one because the truth will out is your whole thing.
7 and 7?
Claim.
So the 10 is a success. You get one success
Yeah.
to convince them that, well, I guess it'd be apparent to you that it's not the Countess because she can't fight like that and doesn't have fangs.
And she has a sword sticking out of her and is still going.
Yeah.
Yeah, that might be
And
normal.
Dalen
I
would
never
have
liked her.
probably noticed that she could do that before now.
I never liked her.
That's a worrying concept.
It was a political marriage. Don't worry about it. He doesn't really like her.
They've got
I like her
kids.
all right.
This isn't her. She's going to need rescuing.
Mm.
If only we had an extraction team.
If only.
And a shit ton of spies.
Yeah, maybe ornithopter or two.
So by the time you've all leapt into the fray, stabbed her, pulled her off of Dela, the guards are like holding each other off. You announce that it's not the Countess and that there's something wrong with her. The Fremen and her guards are like, what? And it throws them a little bit. Long enough for the Fedaykin to get in there and pretty much have everyone at knife point. The entire party. You are there long enough to catch the death of Fade Raltha as Paul sinks his crysknife into him and whispers something to him before rolling away.
You suck.
Did we manage to put money on the fight?
I was still assessing it at the point where I got stabbed.
The Emperor looks like
Can
he's
the
about to
cabinet-
go back on the whole thing and like call on the Sardaukar, and Irulan steps in. Come now, father. We all know what must happen here. And she walks up to Paul and kneels and offers a hand. At that point, you're all dragged off into holding cells, handled with a certain degree more courtesy than maybe you would have done had you not been wearing still suits and with a dude with a crysknife.
The whole time, Kaelin is pleading for medical aid for the Baron.
But they'll throw all of you into one room for now. No, they wouldn't, because the Countess was stabby.
Oh, I probably.
As is the Baron.
And to be fair, the Baron will have taken her head off as well, because no one gets to, walk around with his wife's face on.
It's also fair. But they've locked you in a room, and the Baron is not looking great.
We have
Just a
any kind
lover's tiff, it's fine.
of medical equipment.
I'm afraid I don't.
He has quite clearly been poisoned, running a temperature, veins bulging. The wound on his neck looks really nasty, worse than the one in his kidneys, which has popped one of his kidneys, and that's never a good look.
No.
Wait, did I get stabbed this week? Was I not ill? Was I stabbed by it?
Yeah, that's what happened.
That's what happened.
Explains a lot.
I mean,
Are the guards? Foom will be banging on the door, bars, walls, whatever to communicate.
Okay. What are we attempting to
Taylor
communicate to the guards?
Attempting to communicate to the guards that we need medical attention. The Baron has been poisoned. We have history of our enemies poisoning our liege lords and other staff, and we need anti-venom.
I will make a push for some advantage or whatever we can on this, because they also saw Foom earlier cut a poison dart thingy out of the sky.
And Foom has dual fealty, so he is Fremen.
That too.
So yes, we're leaning into all of it.
Yeah.
From my part, I don't think obviously it can't translate massively, but I have prana bindu conditioning, and I'm wondering if I could talk to the now very injured Baron and sort of like try to walk him through controlling his breathing to slow his heart rate down.
Good idea.
I will let you, rather than talk him through his breathing, if you want to use your prana bindu conditioning to poke him in some pressure points
Yep.
to actually do it, I will let you do a power and discipline roll.
Okay. I will try to do power discipline. Power again is not one of my strong suits because I don't not tried to be powerful in the past, but I
But
want to
it's
say
internal power, this one, rather than
yes.
the
Yeah, valid
collection
point.
of.
I'm afraid I am once again going to spend my determination though because I don't want the Baron to die.
No,
So
bad.
this is yes, it would certainly look bad for Kaelin, whose job was to keep him safe. I will take the critical on that 17.
Absolutely.
All
So
right.
that's 3 successes.
So you slow his metabolic processes right down, keeping him alive more than likely, preventing him from absolutely dying. Locking off, you block off some portions of his body so that the poison can't spread. Dan, can you do me an understanding roll of some kind?
I was wondering, would it be too much of a mistake to use the poison snooper to figure out what kind of poison it is?
Your poison snooper? No. Exactly what it's there for.
Can I do that
Hey,
instead?
I'd even forgotten that you had one. And you've got a quality poison snooper as well.
I
So,
do, yeah. All right, let me try that. So,
yeah,
would it
so
be
understand and truth.
understand and truth, 8 and 7.
Yeah.
Hey, there you go.
Okay, that's 3 successes.
I can definitely say he's been poisoned.
He's definitely been
He's
poisoned.
definitely been poisoned.
It is a tailored biotoxin, and it is of Von Meer make.
This appears to be a tailored
like-
biotoxin of Von Meer.
That's that quality poison snooper.
Let me get
High
stabbed.
volume.
But
Yeah.
then you really rallied after I got stabbed.
It's evidence. Well, you didn't notice it
It cost
wasn't
me
your
6
wife.
points of
I was-
threat to stab and poison you.
Our
I've never
responsibility.
used that much threat in my life.
I think it's fine. You've got a replacement. You know, the
Yeah,
house
Show-
continues.
show
What's
them.
wrong?
It's fine.
I mean, some of us won't be out of a job, and others will, do fine.
Are the rest of the guards in the cell as well?
No, they're common folk. They'll have been like lined up outside with zip
So-
ties and
What can we do about
rifles
this?
on them.
This biotoxin. This,
Well, when a
highly
doctor does
advanced-
get here, you'll be able to say, we need this, this, and this.
Okay. So I
And
know what
effectively,
I know that poison.
yeah, because you know exactly what the poison is, you'll be able to more effectively get him the treatment that he needs. Given that Foom is the one asking for help, help will arrive in the form of a frankly terrified looking sook doctor. Probably terrified because they've just gone up to him and gone, "You, Diamond Face," and dragged him off because he is a member of House. Thank you.
House.
House
Orders.
book is still opening.
Oh, them.
Yeah. So he is a sook doctor in service to. Well, I didn't know you were going to get a sook doctor until you rolled really well.
At the moment, Dayla is just weirdly
Not dying.
mumbling about lakes in the forest,
Some sort of trance state.
and yeah.
Not them. Not them.
This make a wonderful story for round the fireside in years to come. Oh, do you remember that time my wife was replaced by a meat puppet?
Yeah.
And I didn't notice until she stabbed me.
Remember that time we were watching the most significant event to happen in Imperial history?
And we missed
I
it.
got stabbed.
You got stabbed. Faye got stabbed. Everyone got stabbed.
Yeah.
Party.
There you go. House Mutelli.
House Mutelli.
Yep, here's a House Mutelli Sook Doctor wearing the white and rose of the house.
Do we like
He gets
it?
kind of thrust into the room. Fix this one. Muad'Dib would speak with him.
Okay. There's going to be a knife to the throat until our mentor gives me the nod that this one's all right.
Nod given.
He lives. And he will continue to
These
live.
poor bastards are diplomats, mediators,
I know. Boom's a bit
and Canley
testy.
consultants, bizarrely.
Yeah.
Well,
Convenient.
you want someone impartial.
New friends. If only we didn't have enemies that were Canley.
No. I believe our mentat has details of the poison. Please see to the Baron. Salute whatever Fremen threw the poor doctor through the door.
So he will start going to work. This is extraordinary. Is he Bene Gesserit trained?
No, that's me. And she's like finding more points and moving her hands around his body. Yeah,
Playing whack-a-mole on his pressure points.
just trying to slow the internal bleeding and stop the poison from moving around too much.
He
The
wakes up and be like, I thought I only got stabbed one time.
So many bruises.
So he does a quick one. So the poison is clearly the worst threat here. The kidney is lost. That will need to be removed. But he doesn't need both. It's of lesser concern than the poison, but you have data.
I meant it.
This is inhuman.
Yes,
I
it is
understand
a
that in
biotoxin.
Canley these things are done sometimes, but this toxin has been engineered for his biology.
Mm.
You haven't dealt with the Von Meer much, have you?
You must have significant enmity with them.
Yes. It's one way
Even
of
more
putting it.
now.
He will need a transfusion.
Kaelin, your family, he can have your blood.
Absolutely, he can. She like puts her arm out and goes, "If it works for him, take it."
We don't need to be barbaric about this. Could you tell them that I need? And he starts rattling off some equipment.
Bang, bang, bang.
At a tense 8 hours later, a weary Kaelin and decidedly groggy Dela, side by side on either side of a dialysis machine, having their blood shared and exchanged and cleared of the biotoxin.
Dayla is going to hold Kaylin's hand from across the table. And he's still mumbling about the forests and the lakes.
Kaling, for her best efforts, is trying to maintain focus, but obviously is probably a bit away with the fairies at this point in time as well.
You have been allowed to move Dayla and Kaelin to a bedroom rather than a temporary holding cell. And through some negotiation, your guards have been put in the room you were in and stripped of their weapons, but left with their freedom and their water.
But that's good by Fremen.
They have been separated from the Rich East ones as well.
Wise. Yes, please put my exfiltration team in a locked room. It'll be good exercise for them.
Speaking of which, at any point in time did they remove our communication devices?
No.
So my specialist investigative team were on the outside, not on the inside. So before we got dragged off, before we did all of this, Kaylin would have given them instructions to begin an investigation as to where the Countess is.
Smart. I like it.
So their whole job is like they're specialist investigators in security. So their whole job is investigating like high-end crimes back home. So that's like
so they're an asset of yours. So
Yeah.
you working at the architect level still use your skill and drive to run them to do stuff. So yeah, I guess that's then going to be discipline and truth, or discipline and justice. You're muted.
Nerd.
Sorry, I pressed it to unmute it, but I actually muted it. So yeah, I'm gonna say justice because their whole job is they're basically police, really fancy police investigators. So I'm
Yeah,
gonna go.
they're an extension of you. So
Yes,
it means you're rolling, but they're the ones out
they're the
doing.
ones doing it. Okay, lovely. And they get a success. At least one success.
You rolled. Oh, it's one success and a 15. I thought it was a 1 for a minute. I was like, damn, you're rolling a lot of ones, but you're not.
No.
So they get a success. Okay.
Yeah. Just
All right, so they'll have some information once they start digging. That's basically an extended task off over there that they've now started on. All good. Mooddeep joins you in your bedroom.
It happens.
With his consort, looks around the room. I stayed in here once.
I've been here before, I think.
You had more kidneys then.
Things are still a bit hazy.
That this happened under my roof, under my peace, offends me.
It needn't offend you long. Von Meer.
You have candy with this house.
I burn them to ashes. And then they'll offend no one.
You have my leave to do so. Neither I nor the Fedaykin will stand in your way.
Then you have our fealty.
I accept it with gratitude. Rest here. When you feel better, we will speak further. I will have your men released.
Thank you.
Your captains may come and go as they please.
We will attempt to deal with the matter without further imposing upon your rule.
He turns to Foom and says, we who have been scorched know how to stand back to back.
Indeed.
And he leaves. And the door is not locked behind him.
Taylor is not sure that happened in the days to pass. It just...
Did that happen? Was that real?
I had this lovely dream.
Yeah.
He seems nice.
I don't remember him being that.
Oh?
That's all. Yeah. Foom is going to be looking at Tarek at this point going, so that happened.
Yeah.
Mm.
So So let's just hope we swap fealty to the right side.
Yeah, I think the learning here is to not let the Baron make diplomatic decisions when he doesn't have all of his blood inside him.
I mean, maybe don't let him
Indeed.
get poisoned in future.
Well, take that up with your cousin.
That there were at least 3 other people around me at the time.
Yes.
And
one of
they were
whom-
prepared for everything except your wife having
Your-
been surreptitiously swapped for a Gola with poison
Yes,
fangs.
you're not wife.
What do we do these practice exercises for?
So a practice exercise where your wife is a gola with fangs that wants to poison you.
I
Okay.
would like
We'll
to
add
say
it
that
to the list.
I did suggest that in the brainstorm session, but I was shouted down as it being too ridiculous.
But Dan, M, and Alden, since you two aren't currently at half-mast on drugs and dialysis, you can, if you want, start poking around investigatorily.
Yeah, so I think I would like to go back to the beginning a bit.
Mhm.
If I can find out when the switch happened, that might give us a clue as to who did the switch. And I would like to start. Do I know for a fact she was who she was when we boarded the Guild Navigator, the Guild Highliner?
You've got your perfect recall thing, haven't you? You've got, Mentat Discipline and Mind Palace.
Yes.
So, yes, you could use your Mind Palace to follow that back, because
I'm
that is
gonna use-
literally what Mentats are for.
Then that is what I'm going to do. I will be using my Mentat.
You do have some Sappho,
Okay.
which improves the effect of your Mentat Discipline. So effectively, since it doesn't really give us much of an idea on exactly how it improves things, basically, let's call it free focus.
3 focus.
That's not really going to help, is it? Because you've already got a focus in data analysis, so that'd be rubbish.
Maybe an extra dice then.
Yeah, call it an extra dice. That's a good idea.
Okay, hold on. Can I just do the line?
Please.
Of course, I would expect nothing less.
It is by will alone I set my mind in motion. It is by the juice of Sappho that thoughts acquire speed, the lips acquire stains, stains become a warning. It is by will alone I set my mind in motion.
Oh,
Okay.
that's 3 of them gone now.
All right, so okay, hold on. I've got to make a roll, haven't I? Let me-
Yes. It's a difficulty 0 understand test.
So is it 2d20 or 3d20?
It's 3d20.
3. Go. Bugger.
Okay, that's not great because there's a 20 in there, but there is also a success. So it's a success.
There's 2 successes. What was it on? Truth.
Understand, and what was the other one you were rolling it with?
Understand and justice, or understand and truth?
Either of them, the 15 would be a success as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And in fact, with data analysis, 2 is a crit. So that's 3 successes. On a difficulty 0, that's the equivalent of having 4 successes. So that is momentum generated to recall facts and details about the event or location. So playing it all back through your mind palace. Yes, she would definitely have been the Countess Rashis when you boarded the Highliner. She was the Countess Rashis when you arrived in orbit around Arrakis. Her behaviors imperceptibly changed after you had, around the time you were landing on world. So the point at which she must have been swapped is in the hours leading up to and including the dropship.
Okay, I'm gonna say as much to Dan's character so that his investigators can. That's where they could be applying their focus.
You have got extra questions you can ask off the back of that, because 4 successes is 1-for-1 information. So
Can
you've
anyone
still
think of
got
any more
3.
questions? When
Who
did
else, who else was on the highliner?
Who was near enough?
Yeah. Who would have had access?
who done it and why?
Yeah. At the very least, who had
Is there any-
opportunity? 'Cause
Is
that's
there
fine.
any trace of her?
What, since landing?
Yeah. So if she's been swapped out, possibly kidnapped, or maybe she's in on the whole thing, is there any trace of her from?
That's not something you would have been able to check, because if she was swapped before coming down, she could still be up there,
Mm.
Mm,
because you lose track of her before flying down to the planet, and you catch up with her again during the flight down. But during the flight down, she was sat all the way over there, and might have been her, might not have been her.
Okay.
Her behavior doesn't become radically different until you're in the audience chamber.
okay. Here's a question.
Stab, stab.
Did this need the involvement of the Spacing Guild to pull off? Would it have been in breach of Spacing Guild rules?
Yes, absolutely. To have done it on the Highliner would have been in breach of Space and Guild rules.
So either they've been paid off or they didn't know.
Yeah.
Am I going off on the wrong tangent here?
Nope.
No, that's
All good.
Other houses present on the Highliner with you would have been other minor houses of Richice's command, including House Bandor, who run the shipyards, House Tassini, who used to be in charge of the Royal Navy, but are currently blame magnets for everything that's gone wrong with Richice in the last 50 years. House Rund,
Be them then.
ex-royals, very distanced.
they're not as cool as us either.
And we also know that Edwin Richice, the royal envoy of House Richice and brother to the Countess, was with the Imperial Party.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Was next in line for succession, but there's this 9-year-old girl in the way.
Hey, I think it's the 9-year-old boy.
Oh no, it's the 9-year-old boy that's in the way.
Yeah.
There you have.
Okay. Well, I'll be speaking to the Spacing Guild, but I think Dan's lot can have all of that and run with it.
See what they find.
I will do them a note and pass it over.
A Fooms group can practice repeatedly punching people.
Starting with each other for missing this.
I mean, Kaylin in her current state probably isn't in the fittest of minds, so she's going to temporarily hand over the asset to the Mentat for him to use as part of the investigation. Because until she's fit enough to run the investigation herself, she doesn't want to make a mistake. So the
That's a good point, Dan. Looking at your assets, you do also have an Imperial contact.
Yeah, that's how I was going to get to the Spacing Guild.
Nice.
Through that Imperial contact, who I imagine is probably here somewhere in this palace, given the politics of things at the moment.
Yep,
So
seems fair.
that would be my approach. While I'll have Dan's assets looking at if a swap could have been done by any of those other houses, and if any of those other houses have been near our ship while it was landed.
Okay. Aldin, what do you want to do?
Well, Foom is kind of standing there timing, seeing how long it takes his team to get out of the room that's now been unlocked. And if it takes too long, he's just going to go walk down the hall. Bong!
Well, they were a little bit embarrassed because they had to break back in when the door was being unlocked, so that they were there when the door got unlocked for them.
Good. Good practice.
Good practice, yeah.
Right, we need to secure the Baron's rooms. The Baron has now sworn fealty to the Duke Atreides. So
Emperor.
Emperor.
yeah, Emperor Atreides. So just bear that in mind. And clearly, obviously, the Countess is missing, since that was some sort of snake meat puppet. Primary concern at this point is to secure the Baron. At some point, secure transport back to our own fortified locations and move away from this pit of villainy. So that's what we're doing. We're just digging in.
Okay.
Sealing corridors, just basically taking over this particular small part of the palace.
That's fair.
Trying to rustle up some food. It's been a while.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Food, water, these will be provided. All right. So you can quite easily take over the little bit of space that you want to take over. You've got your stuff back. What's your next step going to be while we wait for Kaelin and Dayla to sleep it off?
I think it's also trying to figure out where we are in the palace. Like, are we on an exterior wall? Are we close to something that could be a landing platform? It's Boom is much more focusing on the exfiltration side of this.
You do have an external wall. There is a big window.
We could just blow it and step into the ornithopter. We're going to start prepping for leaving and maybe start to take notice of if there is anybody else around, if anyone else is taking notice of us. So who's bringing the food?
Fremen.
Okay. So food.
Fremen household staff.
Yeah. So
who are now free Fremen household staff rather than being Harkonnen slaves.
Food will very much lean into that to try and find a sort of a, if not a friendly face, because the Fremen aren't good at friendly faces, someone who's willing to engage in conversation and maybe even tell the tale of how his mother used to work in the palace, and that's how his dad, and just was very glad after having been away from the sands for so long to have finally managed to return home. It's kind of build a bit of rapport, trying to gain a bit of a network in the hidden, the unseen chambers of the servants and staff of the.
You would also be given a lot more
itself.
leeway with the Fedaykin in terms of coming and going. Everybody else, they're going to be, squaring up a little bit, hand on knife, ready to go. But when you come past, they'll face you respectfully and with challenge, but without offense.
And Foom will return it.
Okay, so you've made yourself a little bit of a fixture. They know, you know, they know, and so on. Dan, do you want to do an autopsy?
On the head?
Yeah.
Which one?
Baron?
Me?
Well, not on the Baron. He's not dead.
No, he gave us that whole speech about how he was dead. Do you not remember
But,
that?
well, that's true. But
And
yeah,
now
on the
we've
Gola.
come back alive. We've come from the
Well,
other
it's
side.
He
still
was right.
questionable about you two.
I like the idea of doing an autopsy. Yeah, that would give us plenty to work. That might give us some more to work with.
Alrighty then.
What that would be. Understand.
Truth, understand duty. Either would be good.
Understand truth. I'm going to say I know the truth will out. Yeah, understand and truth. Yes, both. One or two.
That's 3 successes. That is very good going. So, from your autopsy, you would be able to identify that your supposition is correct. It is a Gola. That it is not a particularly old Gola. It's a fire and forget one. This one wasn't designed to be terribly sophisticated. Very limited range of skills, abilities. Its vocal cords aren't fully developed. It couldn't have held up a conversation. Muscles are enhanced for fighting. It's been bioengineered. It's a weapon. It is literally a weapon. This thing has definitely been inserted into the group, possibly even since you landed. It hasn't happened up on the ship. Because
definitely hasn't happened on the ship.
This thing would never have been
helps.
convincing on the dropship.
Dayler also had a conversation with his wife about where best to.
Yeah, and that was after you landed.
Yeah. To set up.
So putting all of that together with the information you already have, she has been swapped on world.
But it's really, but it was growing quite quickly.
Yeah. Golas do grow quite fast.
Oh, okay. So
they're grown in maturation chambers. But a
but
slow-grown Gola gets longer-term training and experience and conditioning put into it. Where, yeah, you'd know that. You can custom order a Gola from the Bene Tleilaxi, as well as bits.
But we don't know what the secret is of the Axelos or tank things.
No.
Right, okay. Cool. So I might be thinking, because I was kind of thinking, well, if it was growing quickly, would it have been grown here?
It's possible, either here or on a ship that came here.
The plot thickens.
I mean, at this
Sure,
point,
she's here. She's still here.
We should also probably have a conversation with the head of the Ritchie's Guard, because what kind of fucking idiot lets a Gola wander in?
I mean, yeah, what kind of idiot does let an idiot? Yeah.
Be careful, head of intelligence. You can stick the blame on Kaelin as much as you bloody well want.
I'm trying to avoid getting the blame on me.
I should point out
the
that
blame will start with the head of the Ritchie's Guard.
You know, I might.
The Countess's
around
top two advisors include a Mentat and a Reverend Mother, and they didn't spot it either.
So
I might take the scary Fremen with me as well, if that's all right. To go and talk to these Rishi types.
That me.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. You're the scary Fremen type.
Oh,
I mean, unless we can ask to borrow Stilgar or something.
That's right. Frume's been practicing his. Shall I take his water?
I say unto you, send men to summon worms. The guy who does Stilgar in the Children of Dune miniseries, when he delivers that line, crams as much of the scenery into his mouth as he can when he says
he
it.
really hams it up.
Yeah.
Great.
First, the roar.
I want them to do Children of Dune. Sorry, I'm going to sneeze.
Oh, no, I want to.
All right, so you're going to go and see the Ritchie's Guards.
So, Nazmafat, you're going to be good Mentat, and I'll be just basically thuggish.
Yes.
This feels like the point that Foom should just produce from nowhere, like Arnie in a good commando film, just the mace. symbol of the house, the lantern that lights the way. It's also remarkably heavy
Really hurts.
and spiky.
Before you leave, Dela is also going to lend you his Ginaz knife. And he will tell you, if necessary, to stick it in anyone who failed.
Yes, my baron.
I was going to say, anyone?
Just gonna stab Kaelin on the way out.
Mostly,
do we do Sebaku?
This is mostly a Richie's mistake.
It was all House Rishi's mistake. It was all their fault. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
We were busy with our own stuff.
Yes, my baron.
So the Regis guards are in the process of getting a bollocking when you arrive. Penelope, Jax, the Countess's Mentat spy master, and Bestie is there going for them. And
Penelope, a word,
it's,
if we may.
You should listen, please. But I enjoy good chewing out.
it's very clear that there is a certain degree of guilt in her having a go at them because she didn't spot it either. When she sees you arrive, she will stop haranguing the men and look a little bit worried, in as much as a Mentat can show fear and emotion. When she turns to you, Tarek,
Penelope.
Fum, the Baron, is he well?
Lives. And I think you have already deduced the course of logic that has brought me here.
The thing that attacked him was not Ilbana, the Countess.
It was replaced here on Arrakis. Not
How? I've been with her.
Have you
Almost every
indeed?
minute, myself and the Reverend Mother. We rarely leave her side, particularly not in a place as dangerous as this. Granted, the Reverend Mother is blind, but she sees even with that.
Is she lying?
Maybe.
Can I roll to see if she's lying?
Yes, you can.
Let's see.
Ooh, a Mentat lie off.
Yeah. There's no way this is working. Truth and understand or communicate?
I think communicate and truth is good.
Okay, 14s.
They just stare at each other with the big bushy
Oh,
eyebrows.
Yeah, that's
That'll
what
do.
I'm expecting.
Ah, there we go.
That is actually an equal number of successes both
Yeah.
ways.
Yeah.
She doesn't seem to be lying. Is the best you can get from your read of her, but it's like in the Sherlock Holmes thing when he does this is how I'm going to beat the snot out of this guy, and then they play it at normal speed. You have that kind of
Cool.
psychic duel moment where you look at each other and try and read each other. She's like, did they do it? Is this their attempt to take over the Richis?
This transgression did not take place.
Make a note.
This transgression did not take place prior to our leaving, nor did it happen upon the Highliner. It happened here on Arrakis, shortly after we landed. An autopsy completed upon the subject has determined us that this thing was rapidly grown, either here, again on Arrakis, or somewhere in orbit.
Could have been
What?
matured on the journey and then released here, perhaps designed for a future use.
You must look back. You must look back in your mind to see if there was a time wherever you were parted from your lady.
She slept.
When?
She took a nap. After we had annexed the territory that you found, she rested privately. 2 hours at most.
That's when it happened. Take me to her quarters.
To return to the annex. Targ.
Yeah,
What?
that's back in town where you guys had set up.
The compound we secured. Who was on guard for the Countess at that time? Surely she would not be left undefended.
Of course not. Richie's guards were with her the whole time.
Which ones?
A couple of the men will stand to attention.
Foom's gonna go full drill sergeant.
Yeah. I'll take a step back.
Sir, I was on duty outside her window. No one came past me.
The name?
Galad, sir.
So you say you were on duty, and who could see you while you were on duty?
I was with Hamid, sir. The two of us stood guard duty below her window to prevent anybody from getting to her that way.
Turn to Hamid. Is this so?
Sir, yes, sir.
You are aware that this is the one time when the Countess could have been swapped.
Nobody came in from below, sir.
What about from above?
They look at the other two guards who have stood up at the same time.
Present yourselves and explain. There's a kind of steady thump of the mace at this point. Were you on station above?
Yes, sir, says one of them.
Report.
There was a flash in the sky, and I was blinded for a moment.
And did you report this?
No, sir. I assumed that my partner was covering while I was blinded. I was looking through a scope, you see, sir.
What were you looking at?
The flash, sir.
As the partner. And what did you see?
He lies, sir. There was no flash, no scope. And the other guy's like, but there was. There was a flash in the sky, and I looked at it through the scope. You saw me. No.
Seize these two.
Yes. Some further interrogation is worthwhile, yeah.
We know not which one lies. That is
Foom.
yes.
Foomy.
Start stabbing people. The Baron told me to stab people.
He did tell you to stab people.
To be fair, he's not kind of pissed off. And
Golem bleed
recently
differently, don't they?
recovering from
Stab.
poisoning.
Boom, do me a discipline and truth, I believe.
Discipline and truth. I love a drive statement. The truth is in the silence, which is just not what's happening right now.
Actually, yes, it is.
Oh, okay.
So if you wanted to use determination,
I can't earn it back.
that is true.
Does my focus of adaptation help here?
Not for this bit, no.
Not for this bit. I will roll my 2 then. Yeah, I'll just roll the 2. See what happens. Hey! Boom.
2 successes.
Successes.
The guard that said the other guy was lying, as he's grabbed, crunches.
Oh. Stand back!
All right, that's got to be a move and something. Power, I guess.
Power. Yeah.
Me too? Or
Yeah,
Everyone stand back.
definitely a
We're all gonna get
move.
poisoned this episode.
Yeah. Yeah.
power.
Doesn't have to be power for
Oh,
you, Dan,
God.
if you don't think power is appropriate.
I mean,
And
I don't know what else it would be. Power. Yeah. So,
Poom's just
Nine.
reliving the jolly tales that his dad Morgan would tell him about that time that
No
they caught that
chance.
assassin and he bit his tooth and there was a whole big poof of poison.
I have failed badly.
Wow.
In fairness, you are further away.
Yeah.
Foom, however, throws himself out of the way, scattering
just.
men left and right. Oh, look at that. You could probably throw yourself on the Mentat and save him with that.
Yeah, go on then. He's useful.
Yeah,
Spy master.
it's good use of your extra successes.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Need
And-
to work on your reflexes.
A couple of the guardsmen who are holding those two start choking and spluttering and suffering horribly. The guy who bit down, his face starts melting. The blinky one screams as his eyes dissolve and he's retching up chunks of lung.
Well, I think we found-
Daikin burst into the room at the sound of screams.
Just stand back. Let the poisonous gases dissipate. It's all perfectly normal.
Who are these poisoners?
The Von Meer.
Detestable behavior.
Yes, absolutely. Totally non-honourable. One should be able to meet one's foe face to face.
Unless one is ambushing him before stabbing him in the face.
Well, yes, but then that's his fault for not spotting the ambush, so, yeah.
But yeah, the poison dissipates quite quickly. It's a fire and forget. It's high toxicity, low range and duration.
Yeah, been here before. I
We've got
can't
a couple
wait.
of dead Richie's guards.
Can't wait to tell Dad I nearly had the same thing happen to me. I'm going to turn to the guard captain and go, so, any more of your guards sus?
None of my guards were suspicious in the first place. These men have been with me for years.
So I should stab you next. That's
Clearly.
what I'm hearing.
I will save you the trouble. And I'll do it myself. This should not have come to pass.
May I suggest that instead of wasting your life, you spend your life in trying to save your countess?
Indeed. You are correct.
Although
His
if you-
behavior was strange.
Hmm,
This business with the flash and the scope, no record of it exists.
so what are we to suppose? That one or other of these was fuddled in some way?
Clearly,
That's-
this man had betrayed us. Why? How? We don't know. But it's possible the other man was diligent on duty and this one did something to him. We should check the rooftop.
Yes.
See if
we
there's
should
any evidence of
inspect the
tampering.
entire area.
We are preparing to exfiltrate back to the compound. We merely need the Baron to stabilize sufficiently that he can be moved.
We can ask our assets in the field to do that as well.
Mm. Yes.
This man used to be Ticini Navy. The one with the tooth.
Mm. Right. Well, I'll leave that to the mentor. Anyone else acting suspiciously?
Penelope Jack says, I'm going to fetch the Reverend Mother, and we will question each of these men in depth and detail.
See that you do.
You are welcome to join us if you wish, but I will give you a full report of anything we uncover.
The Baron has requested that I stab people. I would not want to let him down.
Understandably so. And with that, we shall wrap up our session for this night. Next session, we will pick up with Dela and Kaylin able to stagger around and do stuff again. Nice save on the Dela front, though.
Yeah.
That was genuinely a killing attack, and you stopped it. The difficulty on breaking and having a regular ass doctor fix him after that.
It would have been better if they had prevented it, but
No, this has all worked out very well.
Another story to glorify you, Baron.
yeah. Hey, I even get bedside visits from Muad'Dib.
Yeah, not everybody can say that.
Possibly, or that might have been
Feeling
a
okay.
dream.
Yeah, might be.
But we will return with further tales of Canley next week in Dune Dargush Book 3 with Garblag Games. Click on all of the things, press on all of the buttons, do all of the appropriate business to follow us in all of the places. Thank you very much for joining us. I appreciate muchly.
The Canley's on now.
And it's so on. We will see you next week.
Go beyond Canley at this point.
I think, yes.
Yeah.
Dana wasn't kidding when he intends to turn them into ash.
Canley is a war of assassins that can bring about the end of a house. It is possible.
It will be, yeah.
Yeah. And in this case, positively encouraged.
If we turn them to ash, then how do we take their water?
You don't want to take their water. They're poisonous. That water could be bad. They're so bad. Their water should be spilt upon the sands.
Okay, burning. Back to burning. It's fine.
That's fair. Thank you very much, one and all. We will be back, same bat channel, same bat time, same bat next week. I'm running out of bats.
Never.
But thank you very much for being with us, and good night.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.